This says paint.net, and I can't remember if I talked to you about paint.net last time or time before. Remember paint.net? Okay. Um, like I said, there's other packages like this. Now I will come over here and I just put in Pac-Man, see what comes up. Now here's a transparent. If you choose transparent, maybe it'll be fine where you can use it. Um, if you just have the regular one, the original, like here, you have to do some cleanup first. Now, when you choose transparent, some of these have little boxes on here. That sometimes indicates that it's transparent. Other times, it may indicate that they took like a screenshot of with that background. So it's a little bit confusing. Some people see this, oh, all right, this is already transparent. I can use this one, possibly. I'm going to show you how to clean one up, though. So I'll choose this one right here. That one's already has those. I bet this one's fine, but let me go back. Probably if I choose one of these. See, that doesn't have what looks like little boxes there. So I'll right click on this and choose copy image. I go over to paint.net, you do an edit, and then paste in a new image. Now, here we have this white space, and that's fine if I have a white background. It'll look just fine that way. But if it goes over anything, then you'll see that white. So you want them to be transparent when you're designing any kind of image for your game. There's the magic wand over here. If you click the magic wand, you click the white area, it'll select everything that's white. That's bordering where you click that. If you got white in the middle, I don't think it chooses it, if I remember right. Now that I got that selected, by the way, the tolerances up here is where you can have it select more or less depending upon how close does that be to that color you selected. Once you got that, you do an edit cut. And you see this is a background. That's transparent. So now say this is PNG. So do a file save. And let's just start a new folder. And I'll call it Pac-Man. You want to leave it Pac-Man. You want to leave it as PNG. PNG supports transparency. Not all graphic images support transparency. And you see here they talk about transparency threshold. I just always leave everything as default. Okay. And so now I'm going to bring that asset in. So I'll right click down here, remember, and import new asset. I change it to my C drive. Go to that folder I just created. And choose Pac-Man. And now if I drag and drop the Pac-Man on there, you see how I don't see white, but I see the background color. Like I say, if your background color, you change it to white, then it's not such a huge issue, but this is the best way to do it. Resize this in this manner. Now, if I come over here and let me choose the transparent. I don't like the look of those squares. Did I choose transparent? I didn't, did I? Where's transparent at? There it is. It changed position. It was over here. So I need to uncheck pixel. There we go. Some of these already have these squares here, might be okay. When I click this, I'm gonna right click that and save image as. And change it to my game development. And I'll call it Pac-Man 2. Now let's try to add it. So right click on this and choose import new asset. Pac-Man 2. And drag that up there. And see how if you choose a transparent option, if there is one, then you can use it without cleaning it up. Now I'm gonna program where I can use keystrokes to control my Pac-Man instead of it just moving automatically. And I swear that there's a zoom somewhere. Not here. No, not for that. Control and your mouse wheel. There we go. Now I need to put code behind this this Pac-Man. The one with the eye is the one I'll move. So I'll click Add Component over here, and again it comes up with whatever you were looking at last, and type script, new script, and Pac move, Pac 1 move, and then double click on this. Sure, I just let it too. Talk about this. It's loading. These down here are assets. When I drag and drop one of them up here, it creates an instance of that asset. This is the idea behind object-oriented programming. Is I have one definition down here, and I could later on we're going to see even have code associated with that. And then if you drag and drop it, it inherits all those attributes, those characteristics, properties, and even inherits some code. So that if I was developing a game, like I was working for creating a Call of Duty type game, I have a generic character down here that has the movements already defined. I don't know if it's still true or not, but it used to be when they when I played Call of Duty a lot, they came out with a new game every year. They still come out one every year, or yeah. Well, that takes a long time to develop a brand new game from scratch. So what they're doing is they're reusing those objects. They already got the movement already defined. So in a lot of cases, what they have to do is they just have to slap a new look, a new costume on the character, and then it's up and running. So it seems impressive that they can do it every year until you realize um, kind of what's behind it. Yeah, I'm gonna double click on it again. Yeah, it used to be Activision and Treyarch. Yeah, yeah, they used to alternate. Like maybe I got the wrong companies, but they used to alternate. Like one company would do it one year, and then uh, a different company, and then. But this was a long time ago. So okay, now it's up. Now remember, if I got this instance created, um, then up here you'll see a transform, and remember we got our position x, y, and z. A vector is an array of numbers, kind of like a list of numbers. So over here, when we define vector, I can never remember if it's uppercase, position, and I have to say position is equal to this. Remember, this refers to whatever game object I'm putting this code behind. Dot, and then transform, dot, position. The transform refers to this portion right here, and then the position refers to this. And then I'm going to do back after I do my changes. So I'll say this dot transform dot position equals to position. So we're going to be changing vector to position and then dumping it back in there. Now I'm going to do the arrow keys. So when I press the right arrow key, I want it to go to the right. So we use an if statement here. And I talked about the if statement last time. So if, and I'm going to say input dot get key down. This one right here. And then you do a beginning parentheses, and then you type key code. Now it says right here, key code. And I'm going to define or type key code dot right arrow. Now it's always input dot key down, get key down. It's always key code dot, and then here you replace it with whatever you're wanting to program. So then I'll say position dot x is equal to position dot x plus 0.5 f, like that. I'm going to save that. Run it. Now if I press my right arrow key, it goes over. I have to keep pressing my right arrow key for it to move. Now, depending upon, you can kind of see a little jerkiness there. Depending upon how smooth you want, there's other ways of doing that. Now, if I come over here, if it's a right arrow key, then you can do this. If you do input dot get key down and key code dot left arrow. Uh-huh. Oh yeah, you can always. Mhm. Yeah, that's always perfectly fine. They do have a free version, so don't pay for it. Yeah. Really? Can you attach a notepad to that? Right. Yeah, there's no debugging feature on it, and so. But yeah, it's free. They got community edition. Is what it's called. Hmm. I never have tried to attach it to anything besides Visual Studio. Okay, so if I press my play now, if I do my right arrow key, it goes that way. If I do my left arrow key, it goes that way. Now that's kind of not really. I don't like it. Um, I could probably change it, but again, it's the speed of your computer that controls that. And I'm gonna have to look up because I don't remember how to make it look the same on every computer. It's pretty easy. You just have to throw timing in there somehow. Um, but instead of doing a get key down, if I do if input dot get key, now the get key right here, it tells you this. Um, maybe not that one. Where's it tell you? Up here. It says returns true while the user holds down the key. So if you want a program where you can hold down the right arrow key and it keeps on going to the right, the get key is what you want to use. Get key down is like when you press down on the key, and get key up is when you let up on the key. So that's why you have to keep doing it over and over to get it to move. So instead of get key down, I'm going to do a get key. And while I'm at this, I'm going to go ahead and program my up and down arrow too. So if input get key code up arrow, and I know these are not the standard position.y. I know these are not the standard keys for a lot of games. They're programming what W and S, and so you can do whatever keys you want. Okay, so depending upon what keys pressed will determine its motion, which way it's going to go in your game. With what? Yes. Well, no, actually, you can program it to change anything really. Like if you have a key, you could program to change the scale, the size. You could, if you're programming a game like there used to be a game called Asteroids, and you had your ship in the middle, and you wanted it to rotate. Then you could program an arrow key, essentially it would rotate. So, so yeah, it doesn't have to be positioned, but you want to do something with it. You know. So now if I run this, So use my right arrow key and hold down on it. It's going over that way. Press down, hold my left arrow key going over that way. Down is going down like that. Up is going up like that. Now, as you're doing this, see, I'm up about right there. You notice what your X position is and Y position is equal to. So if you're needing to know those numbers for any reason, you can just look over here while you're running the game, and you can see those. If I come over here and I change the X position to 0, you can automatically move it there. So if you're doing testing and you want to manipulate some of these values while your game's running, then that allows you to do that. Anyways, okay. Now, with this character here, I wanted to maybe not be able to go through this big pack person. I want to stop. I want to handle something called a collision by doing that. Now, let's see if I can get this right. You put the collision on what you like the wall, like what you're going to collide with or the character. So I come over and choose this character here, and I say add component, and I start typing the collider. Now you want to make sure that the collider you pick has a 2D on the end of it. There's different ways you can do colliders. The very simplest one is the box collider. Problem with the box collider is Pac-Man in the shape of a box? No. So if I were to touch this upper left-hand corner where it's kind of dark there, where the transparency was, it would register a collision. If you want to program it so it's a little bit better, so it's only colliding when it actually touches the yellow, that's where they have these other options. And we'll see most of the options later on, but we'll just use box collider for now. You can actually edit the box collider to a certain extent. You see I got the box collider down here, and there's a little button here next to the edit collider. If you click that, then you can come over here and you can resize the collision box. Not too useful since we still got those corner issues. What would be a better shape for the collision than a square? A circle, yeah. To get out of the edit, you click that again, and that takes you out of the edit collider. Okay, so I got a collider on this. I want to go to my main character, my Pac-Man, and I'm going to do an add component, and I'm going to drop on a rigid body. Specifically, I want to choose rigid body 2D. Part of a rigid body means it's controlled somewhat by physics. You can program your own physics in it, but it's controlled by physics. Now, if I were to run this, see, Pac-Man just drops off the screen. Because when I drop on a rigid body, it's controlled by the physics. Specifically, what's causing it to drop off is the gravity scale down here. So if you're programming a game like a Sproller game, and you want it to be able to run along the bottom edge, and when you jump, it'll automatically come back down. It's handle that. That's what rigid body allows you to do. And if you have like I'm thinking like the Super Mario Brothers has those little holes and so forth. When you run into them, you drop off. Yeah, you're dropping down to begin with. Yeah, because that's if you start your character up here, when you start your game, you'll see it drop down to the ground. Now, of course, it has to have something it can collide against for that to happen. So now, if I change my gravity scale to 0, that means there is no gravity. You notice there's also things like mass, linear drag, angular drag, gravity scale. I'm not very good at a lot of these items. You have to have some physics knowledge to understand what some of this stuff is. I haven't had physics for 35 years. I know gravity. I know what that does. I know what mass is. But beyond that, some of these other ones, it takes somebody with a little bit more physics knowledge than me to really use them effectively because I don't even know what they are. Okay, so if I run that now, my Pac-Man should not drop off the screen. And if I move to the right, that's not good. Did I put a collision on that? Maybe I put a collider on that too. So I got to put a rigid body in here. Let me put a collider on that one. Okay, so I got a collider on both of them now. That's painfully slow because I need to change the speed of that. I wasn't going that slow before, was it? But me putting a collider on there slowed it down. I think something's wrong with my laptop here. Okay, let me move it a little closer. But you saw I could no longer go through it. So now, if I was clever, I'm not. Um, I'm really risking it. Usually, I just go to Pink Panther, but surely walls won't bring up anything inappropriate. Um, it's like if I wanted to have walls, um, probably not the best example, but I'm gonna right click on this and choose copy image. Come over here and I do an edit, paste into new image. I'm going to choose my rectangular select tool, which is over here in the toolbox. My mouse is circling, it's the upper left one. And then I can choose, click and hold down my left mouse button, and I could choose like that right there. Do an edit copy, edit paste into new window or new image, and now save this. Leave it as PNG. Now if I come over to my game here, and I'm gonna right click down here and choose import new asset. Choose my wall and I'll drop it up here. Resize that. Now that skews the image. So it could be you want to put two walls instead of doing what I just did. It depends upon what the look is you're trying to achieve. So like if I drop that there, if I simply dropped another one right beside it. There is a way to actually edit these sprites within Unity. I've really never done that very much. I've done so seldom, I don't even know how to do it here. But there's a way to do it. Okay. Now, if I drop another wall on here, the fact that it goes beyond that, do you think it matters? No, because I remember our rectangle is what shows in our game anyway. Yeah, so, and you're never going to be able to see that anyway, so it doesn't really much matter. If I drop this one on here and I come over to the rotation, I think about this. Well, I won't think too much about it. I'll just try one. Let's see. Rotation. Huh. Okay, so I got it bigger. Oh, I know what I'm doing wrong. I'm rotating the transform, not the actual image. There is a way to do that, I think. Oh well. Okay, so I just put there on the side because I just wanted to put the walls on there. I won't spend any time to make it look good. I know how to easily rotate it over in paint.net, which is oftentimes how I don't use the editing tools of Unity. Okay, now the thing of it is these walls now are fine, except for if I run this, my character go right through them because I have to add a collider, yeah, on each one. So if I come down here and I choose collider, box collider is probably appropriate. It automatically makes it the size of your box, so you're good there. And here I'll add a collider. Yeah, I don't know why I keep typing that. It's already up here. Here I'll add a collider, box collider 2D. Let me come over here and make my character a little faster. So if it's still running pretty slow, then I'll increase it by threefold. I was refreshing my memory on this morning. Because it's last time I taught this class was 3 years ago. Yeah, it's been a while. And I was putting in this morning, I was putting in 0.01F. And I was sitting there, well, it's not working. I've changed something. No, this isn't good. And they hadn't. 0.01 doesn't move at all. You know, it's like, okay. Okay, so I have our game going here. If I come over there, let me go past the wall. When we go past that wall, it bounces back a little bit if you notice. Um, so now I'm contained within the game. That's interesting. Did I put a border, a collider over there? Let's see. Oh, box collider. Notice I didn't choose 2D. Um, so you can click these three dots over here on the right side, and that's how you can remove component. And now if I did the 2D, this would be better. Now if I had this, and I get rid of the box collider 2D, remove that. If I add the component, see a circle collider, that looks almost perfect, doesn't it? So oftentimes it's smart to try to recognize what you're trying to do and base it upon that. You can edit it. So if you click here, you got some control points that you can click And now if I move that in maybe a little closer there, maybe up a little bit there, it's even better. Now, if this comes up to this corner right here, it shouldn't register a collision. Now, usually those are the ones I use or have used in the past, just because they're simple. Now, notice how my character, when it collided, it moved. Because again, it's a physics type thing. You know, you collide with something, you may be askew. Um, now, we drop another Pac-Man out here. The polygon collider right here. And then if I were to choose the edit over here, I'm not sure if you can see that or not. Going down there, maybe you can see it. See how that green? Yeah. You got a lot of other control points that you can use. You can create your own control points just by clicking there. And so if you had like a star shape and you only wanted the collision to occur on the actual star, you could use the polygon to go through and do that. So it adds a lot more control. But it's not as simple, right? Circle and square, just drop them on there and you're done. I don't think I've ever used a wheel collider. I have no clue what it is. Tile map, we haven't talked about tile maps yet. Polygon. Edge collider, I'm guessing that it's a little bit more, gives a little more control in defining where the edges are. Custom collider, never ever used. I think that's brand new from what I thought this last. Composite collider, never ever used that. Capsule collider. If I choose there right there, you can get more of a capsule type shape, like a pill, versus like a circle that's meant to be circular. Now, with the Pac-Man here, you can have other items that are perhaps controlled by this. Maybe you want to, when you push a button, you want a bullet to go through or start, for example. Next time we're going to actually look at that. But when you press the button here, you want maybe another instance of an asset to appear on the screen. And then you want to even do more than that, you want the trigger to start moving. So a lot of times when you're pressing the button, you don't necessarily want to be able to hold down the button. Maybe you do, rapid fire. But oftentimes, like in where you're firing, you just want to keep pressing the button over and over, and the bullets will be going like that. Sometimes when you press a button and the bullet's going across there, you don't want to have it. I think of it as when the bullet's alive. The bullet's alive when it's on the screen. When it hits the wall, it wants to die. And so you check for the position of it. And when it reaches over there, that's when you can fire again. You ever play those games where you can just fire one bullet at a time? That's where you have to think about for the design. Now up here, you see there's a game object, and this has a lot of different functionality up here. Here's the assets, where you have more functionality for your assets. Now for the game object, there's a create empty, and Now, if you, my wife, since I left home, my wife's life has kept on going. She's doing whatever. My son's life has kept on going. I mentioned this last time or time before. They each have their own life, right? Well, depend upon your uh, beliefs. You know, whether you believe in some kind of God, believe in the Mother Nature, the universe. You might think there's some entity controlling everything. Oftentimes in a game, you'll have some entity that's controlling everything. So it's kind of the master architect of running everything. Now, there's different ways of doing that, and we'll see that. One of them is to create an empty, which is nothing, but it's sitting there as it's always there and it's always controlling something. So if I click create empty, you see down here, it gives it a name. You can call it whatever you want. Wasn't that in Matrix? Wasn't there like an architect? Yeah, I don't remember if he was if he controlled everything or control freak. Yeah, right. Now, when you look at this, there isn't anything there for the empty because it isn't meant to really control anything. It does have a position, and I don't know. I thought you used to be able to grab the empty. Huh, interesting. But anyway, you could change the position here. Since it's invisible, since it's not doing anything, it really is just meant for you to like add a component, and you can add script here. So this is kind of like your master script that keeps track of a lot of different things. Now, where we'll also see empty is in physics. Um, can you see the source of wind? No. Can you even see wind? No. You can see the effects of wind, right? So that's what empty would do. Is you drop it on there and maybe you have it to blow the wind in your game. And based upon the physics of there, like if I had a rigid body and the correct stuff, you could maybe see it blowing my character to the side. The idea of Unity is that they got all this programmed in so that you don't have to sit there and individually program the physics of life. There's a 2D object. This is where I was talking about you can create your own characters, modify them, and so forth. You see, there's a create sprites, and there's a square. And so here we got. I can't move that because I got the round one. There we go. And that one. That looks like the resize one, not to move. Arrows makes me think move. Now, once you got these, you got some tools over here you can use to edit these. So you can make them like that. You can rotate them. That's rotating at about the 3 dimensions, even though you don't have 3 dimensions, so it's kind of facing away from you. Um, with these, you can even do the same tools over here. So if you want to create your own game objects within here, I brought in these walls, didn't I? But you could have some capability to do it here. Over here, you see how there's a color. I click in this white area and I can choose a different color here. And it changes that. Um, draw modes. If I add components here, um, I'll have to. I don't usually create my own. I'm lazy, but I think there's somewhere where you can drop on an image onto it, which never has made a whole lot of sense to me. Because if you drop on an image, you might as well just put the image in here. Um, but there's somewhere there's a texture here. If I type texture, like a texture 2D or text, maybe not. Oh well. But anyway, you can draw your own characters, and you see your limit is not to a square, but limited. You got all these different items here. Physics, we're going to see that's where we add on like wind, things like that. Tile maps we'll talk about eventually. 3D objects we'll deal with. See how we got effects, you got light, audio. You can drop audio in there so you can have your music playing while your game's going on or something. You got video playing. Um, we'll probably play with this a little bit, but not till the end. User interface is where you're wanting to get input from the user. Maybe they'll type in their name, and based upon what they type in, then that's put their name and the score at the top, type of deal. If you're trying to have it such that they can buy something, you ever go into those games where it brings up a screen where you can choose to buy certain items? You could develop a user interface. That's what UI stands for, to do that. Okay, take that. Remove it. Well, I think that's a good place to stop. Now, what I want you to do here is I want you to develop your own little mini game where you're controlling it with keystrokes, and you provide some kind of collisions. Now, if you want to have some fun with it, and you want to have like the rigid body with gravity, and then you want to have different levels there, then you can. We haven't really gotten into the jumping part yet, but you could do that if you want. Um, any questions what I'm looking for there? Well, next time we're gonna have bullets. So we'll have our character. We'll put a tank on there. We'll have our tank fire, and when the bullet collides, and we'll probably use the empty. That's a really good way. You can create an empty class, empty code file. We can do the same thing, but I think empty is probably the best way to start out with. But when you fire, the bullet will move. When it collides with something, that will have that character disappear. Now, very easy way to get the character to disappear. How do you think I could get their character to disappear? Coding, definitely. Or if I have this character right here, is the character now gone? Yeah. So simplest way, you just throw the X value clear to the right, and then it's no longer on your screen. But yeah, you're right. There is code to make it destroy the object or the instance, I should say. Well, we'll go ahead and stop there. Any questions? Anything? Well, have a great week, and I'll see you next class.